All right, so you will notice that in part 1, when you filled out your data set and you click on part 2 of your graph, that it also filled out your data set under part 2, so you won't have to copy and paste those numbers back in there. So now we're going to use our data set for both males and females that we collected based on our question that we asked the class yesterday, and we are going to find the 5-number summary. A 5-number summary includes your minimum, maximum, first quartile, median, and third quartile. So instead of having to calculate this all by hand, which we did yesterday in our warm-up, we are going to calculate using formulas. And so when you type in these formulas into the Google spreadsheet, the Google Spreadsheets calculator actually will do all of that for you. And so you won't have to put anything in order from least to greatest. You won't have to calculate anything by hand. It's really, really nice and really, really easy. So let's start with males, minimum. So whenever you do a formula in Google Spreadsheets, you always hit equals first. This tells the spreadsheet that we're going to write a formula. And since it's the minimum, we're going to do min, M-I-N, parenthesis, and then you just go over and you highlight the male's data set. And then you hit in parenthesis, enter. And it says that our smallest number for males was a 3, which looking at our data set, since it's only 10 numbers, we can easily see that that is true. Our smallest number is 3. But this makes it really nice when you have data sets that are way bigger, like in the 50s, 100s, anything like that, because then you don't actually have to go through and see what your smallest number is and risk messing that up. So for females, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do equals MIN for minimum, parentheses, and then we're going to highlight our females data set in parentheses, enter. So it says our smallest number is 5. So now we're going to go over to first quartile. And so again, we always hit equals. We're going to do quartile. You're actually going to spell out the whole word and do parentheses. We highlight our data set for our males, but we cannot just put an in parentheses because then it doesn't know what quartile we want to use. We want first quartile. So after we highlight, we're going to do comma 1 for first quartile, parenthesis, enter. So it calculated that our first quartile would be 4. So if we found the middle number of everything below our median, we would get the number 4. So we're going to do that again. Equals quartile, parenthesis, highlight our females, comma 1 to tell it that we want the first quartile, parenthesis, enter, and we get 5. For females, you'll notice that 5 is our minimum and our quartile. That's because 5 occurs multiple times within my data set. And so it's okay to have your minimum and your first quartile be the same thing. It just means that I won't have a whisker when I make my graph. And you'll see what I mean in the next video. So median, we're going to do equals to tell it that we're doing a formula. Median, parenthesis, we are going to highlight the males, and then we're just going to do in parentheses and enter. And we're going to do the same thing for females. We get 5.5 is our middle number. Third quartile, we are going to hit enter, type out the word quartile, parenthesis, highlight, and then again we have to do a comma because we need to tell it what type of quartile we want. And since we want the third quartile, we're going to put a 3 there, in parentheses, enter. So it told it that we wanted the third quartile, which would be a 5. So the middle number of everything above my median is 5 equals quartile, parentheses. We're going to highlight our females numbers, comma 3 for our third quartile, enter. And then our maximum. So we do equals, max is all that you actually have to put in. We don't actually have to spell out maximum. We highlight, in parentheses, enter. Equals, max, parentheses, highlight, in parentheses, enter. So again, you can check that. It says that my biggest number for males was 7, which I can easily go over here and check. That's a true statement. And my biggest number for females was an 8, which is true. Now we have to find the interquartile range. And so that is just that is Q3 minus Q1. And so my Q3 for my males was 5 minus my Q1, which was 4. And so 1 would be my IQR. So my interquartile range is just 1. Now we're going to do our IQR for females. So again, that's your Q3 minus your Q1. And so that is 6.75 minus 5. And that gives me 1.75 for females. We're going to put those in sentences because that's something that Miss Thetford is grading you on. And then you're ready to start the next video to figure out how to turn this data set into a box and whisker plot.